Oh, wow.
Welcome to DogStar.
Each week we sit down with a star of hip-hop and R&B, and this week we have the pleasure of sitting down with Amora, the Tsunamé.
Yay!
Yeah, thank you so much for making the time to come through today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, sure.
We know you're busy as heck, and you've been, up to a lot, especially recently.
Oof.
But we want to start with, your origin story.
Yeah, rewind a little bit.
So, grew up in Minnesota?
Yep, I grew up over North Minneapolis. Spent some time South Minneapolis. I went to fair school downtown my whole life, too.
Okay.
Fine arts school, small, but...
That's cool, yeah. Who, I guess we know you the most from your music, so don't mind all the music questions, but who was, picking out who had control of the radio when you were in the car, growing up before you were buying CDs?
It was my mom and my older sister, but my grandpa traveled the world and made blues music, so a lot of the time it was one of my grandpa's CDs going in there, or it was Muddy Waters, or it was, some old music, but that kind of built what I have today. So.
That's cool. So they had a pretty good taste in music?
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, that pays off. Nothing that you hated listening to?
Not that I can recall.
Okay.
I love old music. I still to this day rocking Michael Jackson. Still listen to Prince. I'm still listening to El DeBarge and
Very cool. What was your first time on stage or in front of an audience?
Yeah, were you singing in church or singing in school at all?
Yeah, I sang in church. When I was a kid, I sang at Shiloh Temple for a little bit.
Okay.
And if you guys know anything about Shiloh Temple, that's where some of the artists from Sounds of Blackness come from, like Javante Patton. I don't know if he comes from there, but I know he's affiliated with them. Yeah,
show.
And then as I got older, I got into choir at school because I was going to fair and art school. And eventually I started doing my own thing once I realized that I could.
Yeah.
So...
What, I'm not familiar with that school. So in choir class in my high school, it was the students really had no say in what songs they were singing. They were all kind of songs I didn't feel like singing. What was it like there?
Honestly, the older I got, the more it progressively turned into an art school because it wasn't an art school to start out. When I was kindergarten through 5th grade, it was IDDS, Interdistrict Downtown School. So it was just your regular charter school. Or I don't even know if it was charter, but I know it was a disciplinary school, come to find out.
ALC.
Yeah. So we got bought out by Fair Crystal, which is another art school, but it was a middle school.
Okay.
And they bought the elementary and high school. So there was no more middle school at a K through 12 school. That switched over.
No.
And high schoolers didn't have to wear uniforms anymore. It just completely transitioned. And then by high school, we had 3 different types of choir class. We had solo choir, concert choir, and performance choir.
And which one were you in?
Anyone I could get in.
Hey.
Did you eventually do all 3?
Yeah. Throughout high school, we could switch through semesters and everything, and I would switch out which choir I did. My favorite one was probably performance choir. Yeah.
More fun songs? Or?
Yeah, we got to dance and stuff with our songs. And then solo choir, you got a lot more solos. So you got more time to learn your voice, to recognize what you wanted to do, to feel if you could do riffs and runs, to actually train and have one-on-one time with your teacher.
Sorry, continue.
Good.
I was going to say, sounds very important into the development of the craft.
Yeah, we worked with other teachers as well. So our main teacher, Miss Baglios, she was awesome. Shout out to Miss Bags. But we also worked with JD Steele, who's part of the Steele family.
Dang.
And if you know your Minnesota history, you know that the Steele family is huge. So we got to work with him, his brother Fred Steele. We got to see the Steeles perform. One of the girls I grew up with is Jazzy Steele. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her, but she's an awesome R&B and hip hop artist, just amazing. So growing up in that kind of environment really toughen my skin for the industry world as far as like music goes. But the weaker side is like I graduated with 100 students, and we had like the highest graduating class for that year, obviously, because there was only 100 of us.
Wow.
So you don't get as much social skills going to such a small school. So like when you get in the big world, you're like, how do I act around 50,000 people?
Don't have that built-in network. Graduating
not
class.
at all.
Interesting.
Not at all. I never went to a big school. It was always fair.
And then I know you're doing fashion stuff now and art stuff still, I assume. Did the school have any part in those passions at all, or is that kind of...
The fashion was more my mom, and my mom was really shy. So she never got to like do her photo shoots and everything, because she used to tell me like, oh, well, people used to think I was so pretty when I was walking downtown. They'd ask me to do these photo shoots for them or model for them, and I'd say no because I was so shy.
Oh, no.
And I was like, well, you're beautiful. Like, why wouldn't you do it? You know, and her friends would even say the same thing. But then she ended up getting me into pageants at a young age. And I stopped doing that through like middle and high school for a little bit, and then semi did it. And then after high school, I was a rebel. I was like 17 and I was doing like almost nude photo shoots. And yeah, it was bad.
Trouble.
It was bad. Now I'm almost 26 and I'm like, you know, that photographer, whew, Lord. But I started getting back into like the modeling and all that other stuff about 16 or 17. And really started taking it seriously.
Yeah.
I started taking it seriously about 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to jump back to these early on pageants. What was that experience like? Like, what do you think it was a positive experience? Or, I mean, having people like look at you and
Constantly judge you.
It was positive, but it left a negative impact. You know, like in the moment it was positive. It was like, oh, I want to be here. Like, I enjoy this. Like, it's competition. I don't care if I win. Even though, yeah, you do care if you win. You know, you just put so much work, so much money. My mom just spent the rest of her paychecks to get me a dress and a tiara or whatever the heck she was getting. And just for me to flop or not win, or for another girl to show me up, or for it to be rigged. You know, so it's what's the word, asinine? But it's also like a learning lesson, and it also kind of teaches you like, no matter what somebody has to say to you, at the end of the day, even if you didn't go home with a trophy, you still go home with a lesson and you go home with your pride. And you get to go home like, okay, I did that. Let me try again, you know? So
definitely
a great thing to take away for sure.
Yeah. Was there any... Did you have like stage fright when you first started doing
I still
that?
have stage fright.
Okay,
yeah.
so
I get so shaky, yeah.
Oh, man.
That's just an anxiety thing.
That's wild. And so did you have those like before choir concerts and stuff?
Especially if I had a solo. And like, I think the only time I didn't get stage fright was when I was in like elementary and middle school playing the drums.
Nice.
Because I was like, okay, everybody's playing the same thing as me. You know, like, this is no big deal. And then by the time I started doing my own thing, that's when I was like, oh, they're going to hear me. That's not good.
Yeah,
I'm scared.
I totally forgot until you said that you were playing the drums, that you play multiple instruments, right? How early did that start? Like drums early on?
Came out the womb playing the guitar?
Yeah, I want to say so, because I got harmonicas when I was like 2. Yeah, there's some pictures somewhere hidden in an album of me behind a door, butt naked with a cape on, and like 7 harmonicas.
Dang.
And I played the piano from the time I was like 4, but not like professionally or anything, just like actually learning the notes and like taking things slow. So I'm not like Beethoven or anything, but want to be.
Yeah, so you play the drums, piano a little bit, or know your way around the keyboard.
Yeah, saxophone a little bit.
And I feel like I saw you with like a guitar, a bass guitar,
I play the
one
bass
time
too,
on stage. Yeah, that's crazy.
Somebody stole my bass, but I taught myself how to play the bass. Once you know how to play the piano, you can play anything. So I taught myself how to play the bass over a year or 2, and I started going on stage and just hitting it because it was like, I didn't want to make any more music. I didn't want to write my music anymore. I didn't want to write anything for the bass. So I was just like, forget it. I'm going to go and freestyle. And that's what I was doing for like 6 months. Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It was awesome.
Cool. When did you start writing your own songs?
Like 12 or 13.
Oh,
yeah, I was like playing with the piano that my grandpa got me, and he passed when I was like 7. So I was, unfortunately, because my mom isn't really musically inclined, like she encouraged it, but she wasn't as musically inclined. My grandma was, but a little bit older. So she gave me more of the business aspect.
Right.
So most of my music was just like, you have to teach yourself, you have to do this yourself. Yeah, so I was
writing
songs young. Yeah.
Do you remember what your first song was about?
Ooh.
Think about it. Won't you just think about it?
Hey.
Think about love. Think about hate.
There you go.
I was like 12. Oh my gosh. I had my grandpa's piano that he gave me, and I was like, yep, these are how you play the keys, just one key at a time.
Right.
No chords, nothing, just one key at a time.
That's sweet, though. What a memory. When's the first time that you performed one of your own songs?
Oh.
9th grade. My spoken word teacher. So I had the coolest spoken word teacher, and Fair had us so messed up because he didn't have a teaching license, but he was going to MCTC, which, if you know, is only like 4 blocks down from Fair, because Fair is on 10th and Hennepin. MCTC is on like, is closer to the Basilica.
14th,
or something like that. And he was going to school at the same time teaching students. And he was so awesome. He brought in Slug from Atmosphere because he was Atmosphere's hype man. So yeah, he was the coolest teacher ever. He was teaching us how to rap. He was like, spoken word is not just about poetry and snapping. It's about how you feel and your words. He was like, if you want to write music, you can turn one of your poems into a song. And I did that, and I performed it, and I was like, okay, this wasn't that bad. Whoa. So that got me to rapping. Because at first I was like, rapping is for guys. I'm not a tomboy. I'm a tomboy.
Fish pie, right.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So you performed at school, or?
Yep. Right in the cafeteria.
And what was that song about?
It was one of my poems. I remember the hook was like, disgusting, trust me, distrust me, don't love me, don't hate me, don't even try to debate with me. I wake up screaming, hoping I'm dreaming, wishing I could take out my heart. Then it wouldn't hurt so bad, hoping that the pain don't last. It was something like that. And then I even like switched into singing, and it was like, it was so much, but I was just like, there's so much potential right there. And like, looking back, I didn't really believe in myself, and I was like, this isn't going to make it anywhere. Now I'm just like, if you could see, if the 14 or 13-year-old me could see what I'm doing right now. Yeah. Come on now. That would have been awesome.
Heck yeah. When did I don't know if the performing school would have had you guys like recording stuff, but when did you kind of get introduced to the studio life?
So we had media arts class.
Oh,
awesome. I know our school, like now kind of looking back, maybe Fair was a little slept on, but some of the teachers were just ASS, just terrible teachers. Oof. But the classes that they offered, the after school classes that they offered, even like the secondary teachers, like they were just phenomenal. We had a media arts class, which we could make beats in. We could go into GarageBand, make beats.
Was that your introduction into like a DAW for beat making as well?
I didn't know anything about DAWs back then. I didn't know that there was more than GarageBand. I just thought, I was like, this is what Jay-Z does. This is what Dr. Dre does. Totally. I'm not doing this, So then they offered a teacher named Mr. Woods, and he is a beat maker as well, and he taught after school classes. So you had the option to make beats, you had the option to record a song, you had the option to write, you had the option to engineer. Whatever you wanted to do in that class, you could do it. It was just musically. So that was kind of an introduction, but still then I was just like too tied up in my ego to think that I could make beats. And I was just like, I'm just going to stick to writing. I'm going to be a writer. I'm going to be a songwriter. I'm going to be a rapper. I'm going to be a singer. Maybe play the piano and dance, but I'm not going to rap. I'm not going to make beats, none of that. So
that's so interesting how it kind of you trickled back in slowly but surely.
Yeah, for sure. It took for me to pay $350 to some guy in Amsterdam for one of my beats for me to be like, I'm never doing this again. I'm never doing this again. Like, I got full rights to the beat. That's awesome. Cool. But what am I going to do with that? You know, when you have the capability to make your own beats and to go into somebody else's studio, I know how to work Pro Tools, Ableton, FL, Logic, GarageBand, of course, Machine, Reaper. Whoa. There's so many other DAWs that over the past year and a half that I taught myself how to use. Wow. If I would have learned at that age, 13 or 14, when I was first getting introduced, right now, I don't know where I'd be as far as making beats. But, you know.
That's so fascinating. I mean, it kind of blows my mind to learn the trajectory behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could go back, what one of these many aspects would you focus more on?
Honestly, I would have... That's a hard question.
It's tough.
That is a very hard question. I probably would have just focused more on centering myself. Like, no aspects involved, because the aspects would have came back around. They would have made their way to me, kind of like how they were showing, like, hey, this is an option. This is a door. This is a door. Right. These doors are all open. Like, you don't have to do anything. Just walk through the door. Now, once your mind develops, you're kind of like, those doors start closing. But if I would have just sat and stopped trying to chase after fun or see who cared about what I was doing and back to the pageants, that's kind of where my mind was like, who cares about, you know, what I'm doing right now? Who cares about how I look? And it lowers or boosts your confidence. And for me, during high school, it really lowered my confidence. So when you have a low self-esteem and, you know, you're kind of like mixed in, like you don't know if you're doing good or if you're messing up, you'll sit there and you'll be like, I'm just going to keep messing up because it's like, it's just confusing. High school is just a big maze. It's a big mess. But if I would have just sat back and been like, I care about myself, nobody else, I'm going to do what comes to me, I think that would have been my main focus.
Oh, yeah.
Not beat making, not art, not any of that, just caring what I care about, not everybody else.
We'll be right back
on DogStar. Bow wow. Bow wow.
Welcome back to DogStar.
We're sitting down with Amora, the Tsunamé, getting the backstory, the origin story from you. Cool high school that you were going to for sure.
Yeah.
Sounds like you learned a lot, and yeah, it definitely sounds like you're a long way from where you were in your high school years.
Most certainly.
That's pretty much where my digging started for the research for this interview. So yeah, some non-music stuff real quick. You were in the Army after high school?
Oh, yeah. I joined the Army when I was 17.
Okay.
And it wasn't fun. I don't suggest it. Fight for yourself.
Straight up, though.
I'm slightly joking, but at the same time, it was worth it for the benefits, for, you know, the experience. But other than that, I wouldn't suggest it.
Not as good as they make it sound when they're trying to get you to sign up type thing?
Oofta.
You do not get a Camaro. Nope.
Dang.
What's the biggest thing you took out of your experience in the Army that you might still use today?
Definitely discipline. It's kind of like a mental discipline. Like, even if it's not like me doing something to be disciplined, it's like, hey, you know you're messing up right now, right? Hey, private. Hey, make that bed. You know, it's more like I'm gonna mentally, like, what's the word? Overstimulate myself in order to go and do what I have to do.
Okay.
But another thing I'd say is definitely aim, like shooting precision.
Got it on lock.
Yeah.
And then,
extremely valuable skill.
Yeah.
And then I was seeing that you were drawing and stuff early on again before I found that first song, dancing, modeling. Then I saw something about Addicts in the Attic.
Oh my God.
Is that
Whoa. Okay. So Addicts in the Attic, it was a group that some friends of mine started. We stayed off of Aid Mill Road. Okay. Well, they stayed off of Aid Mill Road in this nice house. And then upstairs in the attic, one of our homies had a bedroom, but outside of his bedroom, it was like another living quarter. Okay. And we used to just make music up there. Sick. So one of my best memories with Addicts in the Attic, and the reason we called ourselves Addicts in the
10
Attic.
Times fast. Oh my God.
Yeah, the reason we called ourselves Addicts in the Attic is because like we were always smoking, you know, doing tabs and like all sorts of crazy stuff and like just tripping balls up there. And the best music used to come from it. That actually, our homie Foos, who used to make the beats, he is my inspiration and he's the reason that I got Ableton on my laptop.
Nice.
So yeah, he's the reason that I was like, you know what? Because I was sitting there and I told him after I bought that beat, I was like, dude, I just spent $350 on a beat. I don't feel good. He was like, I have Ableton right here. Learn how to make your own beats. I said, what's Ableton?
Right. And
the door was opened. Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, I went to IPR for like a semester and took a Pro Tools class. And that's how I learned. But Addicts in the Attic, my best memory with them was doing Shut Up and Rap over at the Poorhouse. Right. And Nerdy, Sophia Aris and don't tell me, Wiz Khalifa's DJ Bonics. They all three judged me. And I had so much fun. I won with a poem. And that was just the craziest. It was so absurd and it was so crazy. But they said that I won because I was able to get a crowd of over like 100 people to go from a 10 to a 0. And they were like, yeah, you're good. You win.
And it was, you weren't even supposed to perform that night.
They pulled me up on a wild card.
So you didn't have a crowd full of people there. Like,
I just had the addicts, yeah.
That's
it was
so
like,
cool.
We did come with like 7 to 10 people. However, 7 to 10 compared to like over 100 people, that's huge. You know?
That's so
I can't
sweet.
imagine.
Yeah.
And I guess that's before, I just had the song No More. There was a post June 27, 2017. So that was before Shut Up and Rap.
Yep. I was fresh out of high school. And I wrote that song 2016, I think it was. Or no. I think I actually did write it in 2017. Back then, I was really good for writing a song, recording a video of me singing it, and then just posting it.
Nice.
But my friend Sean Lyrics recorded it for me. He used to like just help me out with studio sessions and stuff anytime he had a studio. And he recorded that for me, and then I put it out, and that was it. I didn't really like the song, but I forgot I even had it posted, so it's crazy that you found it.
Nice. And then, 2019, the Shut Up and Rap stuff was the next stuff that I had down. Was that like your first time kind of getting on stage and starting?
Starting back, yeah. So like after high school, I took a little break because I was in the military. And I had to pick one. You know, are you going to focus on fighting the country for the country, or are you going to focus on music? And in that time, I don't know why, but I was just like super depressed. And I was like, forget what I want to do. I'm just going to go do what makes money, you know? So that was a short, slow period of my life. However, 2019 was about the time where I was like, you know what? I'm back on it.
Heck yeah.
That's cool. And so then you were performing everywhere pretty much after that. Red Sea, Part Wolf, Bullwinkles, Driftwood,
R.I.P. Part Wolf,
Depot, Underground Music Cafe. What's it like being on stage now compared to maybe back when you were doing the pageants and stuff?
Or even choir in school.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Choir in school and pageants, I would say, were easier because you have so much rehearsal before. As an adult and on your own, kind of like, I guess, self-managing, it's harder because you have to come up with your own practice schedules. You have to be motivated to do it. You have to take time to make sure that, you know, you're getting sleep, that you're eating right. You have to make sure that you're engaging with the crowd. You have to not be afraid to look somebody in their eyes. You have to be able to work if your mic cuts out, work if your music isn't working out. You have to just have so much preparation. You know the saying, proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Hey.
Literally. So
sounds very military of you.
Yeah, I wasn't really good when I first got out of high school at going and performing. I'd just be like, oh, there's a show? Okay, cool. These are the songs I'm going to do. And then I'd think about it, and then I'd be scared to perform because there were people around me. I never had alone time until I got my own place. So, excuse me. I didn't have a lot of time to not be shy. You know, and even when I did have my own place, I was in an apartment. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm scared my neighbors are going to hear me. And then when I leave my apartment, they're going to look at me like, I heard you singing and you're terrible. You know, so like, even though I know I'm a good singer, I know I'm a really good artist. However, those thoughts kind of eat me up when I'm ready to practice. So. Yeah.
When did you end up like finding space to do, like, to properly prepare? Because you like kill it on stage now, so the routine's got to be at least less constricted by
the time for that didn't come until COVID. So so I didn't start like taking it this seriously until about 2020. So the government shut down. I lost my job because of COVID in March, like a couple days before my birthday, and I ended up having to figure it out for myself. So I ended up going and getting my own studio. And since I had my own space, I had my own equipment, I had my own car to get there, you know, like I just decided to practice there.
Just locking in. Yeah, I got, there's it Cheap Limousines that was February 9th, 2020.
Yeah.
So that was right before that. And then it's like, sounds like you were just like, I'm going to go all in on.
Yeah, Cheap Limousines. So I was sitting in the car with some friends of mine. I don't know if you guys know Louis Blaze. He was in the car when I was writing that song.
What? Interesting.
Yeah, it was. We go back to high school. Like, he's cool. He's so cool. He's awesome. But he was in the car when I was making it. And at first we were like, ride with me in my pink limousine. And I was like, I don't want to say pink limousine. I don't want to say that. And then I looked on YouTube, and the guy that made the beat, his name was Cheap Limousines.
Whoa.
So I was like, that's going to work.
That's even better. Yeah.
That's going to work. So got it written, recorded, and Brother Ali's son, coolest kid you'll ever meet, Fahim, he ended up producing and recording it for me.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it all just happened.
Gosh.
Yeah, it all happened in like a week, and it was just so fast because everybody that heard the song, like, I had grown men, thugged out, tattoos on their faces, not afraid of a boulder falling off of a mountain. Like, oh, I like this. You know, like getting their groove on. Like, the femininity was showing in the most masculine of men to this song. So I was like, wow, one day that song's gonna just blow up.
Definitely.
You know?
That's so you brought that today, so we'll listen to that at the end here. And then was it May 3rd, 2020, 575. You dropped that. So that was like the next project.
Yeah.
Who were you working with to make that?
So I wrote the song myself. I found the beat on YouTube again because this was before I was making my own beats.
Okay.
And I honestly, the guy that recorded the song, that produced it and engineered it, he moved to Cali. I think his name was Trey, but I do not remember his name because my friend Antonio Fix ended up bringing me over there, and he was like, hey, you know, good studio session prices, and it was right over Northeast on Marshall. Okay. So I was like, Marshall and Broadway. And I was like, decent studio, nice price, you have a good sound. Okay, let's do it. And then I never saw the guy again.
Oh, no.
That's
but
wild.
yeah, that was my first music video too, like by myself. It's on YouTube. I don't know if you found that.
I don't know if I did find that, but we'll definitely look. And then the George Floyd was murdered, and so then it was the protests and stuff in South Minneapolis for a while.
Yeah.
Or you were on Vice News, I saw, and performing down there and stuff.
Yeah, we walked
Very
from
powerful.
the Capitol again with Louis, Hannah Savano. Oh my gosh, there were so many other artists out there. I think even Minneapolis Drew was out there. We all walked from the Capitol and we marched, and it was the most peaceful yet disturbing protest I have ever gotten to. Because as we were marching, there were just police lined up, just staring at us with their ARs. And, you know, it's just like, it's so nerve-wracking because everything in you wants to reach out and choke the life out of them.
Yeah.
Right.
However, you have to keep your composure. Otherwise, you're the bad guy.
Right.
You know, because a badge is nothing but protection. Like, they're just as much of a gang as everybody else out in the streets. It's just they have so much backing them up. We actually see it. There's people that'll sit there on Instagram and they're like, oh, well, you're just out there rioting and you're just out there protesting because you're mad and because you're black. And I'm like, no, I'm rioting and protesting because what was done was unjust and we don't deserve that. Nobody deserves that. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, pink, brown, purple, blue, whatever color you are, you deserve peace. You deserve to be treated like a human like everybody else. We're brought here to live and love. We're not brought here to tear each other down. That's just evil.
Right.
So that's why I was protesting. Not because I wanted to steal or because I wanted to go have fun or blow stuff up and F the police. No, because, yeah, F the police. But
Exactly.
they hurt us.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Admirable.
Thank you.
And then I don't know if I'm missing anything in the discography. Next thing I got is 2021.
I just really quick want to touch on Safe and Sounds with Re-X or Rikes.
Rick X.
Ricks, excuse me.
So that's Dylan Stump. He's another, he's a producer that I worked with back when I was in middle and high school. I worked with him out at Zanewood.
Early days.
Yeah,
Okay,
so Zanewood is
okay.
out in Brooklyn Park. They had a program called We Are Hip Hop. And you'd pay I think it was $20 or something or $12 for the entire segment. And they teach you how to make your music, teach you how to write. It was run by Brandon Trevon and Luther Eskridge. And Lou would make beats and play the piano. And it was every day that I had in there, it just it built me up. And it gave me actual confidence as a kid. And especially a kid that came with less. I was a less fortunate child, you know. Sometimes I'd come in and my shoes would be talking, literally,
Right.
you know, and that's embarrassing for a young girl or a young guy. However, being there, it's I forget about what I don't have. And I remember, hey, I have this family too, you know, alongside my family at home. I have these guys that are willing to teach me and that want me here and that love me, you know.
So, yeah, such an important thing to have, especially that young.
It was,
Sorry,
definitely.
not jumping back ahead in the discography.
No.
Oh, yeah. January 30th, 2021, Descendants featuring Derek Branch came out.
So,
how did you guys end up working together?
So, Finding Novion judged me at the other Shut Up and Rap at Pimento.
That's right.
Yep. So he judged me at Shut Up and Rap, and we actually ended up becoming good friends after that. He's awesome, amazing to work with, very calm guy. Great music as well. He and I made a song together too. But he reintroduced me to an old friend, and his name is Oxblood, and he's also an artist. And he introduced me to Derek Branch. So when I was younger, I used to watch Derek on Vine, but I didn't know he was from up here.
Whoa.
And I was like, oh my God, he's so cool. It's so funny because he kept putting eyelashes on his face, and he was screaming in the camera, get off my live. And I was like, who is this guy? He's so weird. This is me. I'm alternative too.
Right.
So Oxblood ended up connecting me with Derek Branch. And I didn't fangirl or anything because I was this is a normal person, you know, at this point. And we ended up making that song together the second time we met up because I ended up showing him Cheap Limousines. I told him which one of his songs was like my favorite songs. And I gave him an example of what kind of song I wanted to work on. He sat at his desk with his guitar and played some rain sounds on his Pro Tools.
Way.
And he's like, so how do you want this to sound? And he let me tell him exactly what I wanted out of the song.
Oh.
So the breakdown at the end, I was like, actually we should have that build up and then break down and like deform itself or something. And he was like, good idea. How do you, it was one of the most epic music making experiences I've ever had.
Yeah, it sounds magical.
Yeah, it really was. It was just he and I up there in his room making music. And if I could do it again, I definitely would.
Nice.
I think I will too.
Heck yeah. And then, sorry, we got to take a break in 30 seconds, but Bad Thoughts, that's like what I consider your most famous song, which you're performing all over the place.
Yeah.
Is like a rager. So find Bad Thoughts with a Z at the end during the break. We're sitting down with Amora, the Tsunamé. What's your Instagram handle? Amora.thethe.tsuname, TSUNAME. Or you can spell it like this. Boom. We'll be right back.
DogStar.
Bow wow.
Welcome back to DogStar.
We're sitting down with Amora, the Tsunamé.
Yeah.
And we've only got like 11 minutes left of this interview, if you can believe it. And we understand you want to make sure to talk about some things.
Yeah,
so
get down to
business.
let's get down.
For sure. So, me and my team, we started a collective called Trouble House.
Okay.
And house like German house, HAUS.
Yeah.
So pretty much Trouble House is a collective of artists and creatives with individual businesses coming together for the sole purpose of enhancing the journey of our creative processes.
Wow.
So altogether, we've been working with other groups such as Co-Create X, who actually created these VIP badges for us. So they have QR codes on them, as well as these QR codes. You scan them, you put your number in, and it brings you to your Instagram on the elevator.
Oh, sick.
I can go more into detail about that later. However, I did just want to bring that up because you can set up your own elevator for $5 a month. It's awesome. Working with Nick has been such an experience. We have so much opportunity coming up.
Oh, I love that.
Another thing we do with Trouble House, currently we're putting together a fashion show actually for my birthday, March 23rd.
Coming up, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be the Year of the Dragon fashion show. So I like the idea.
For all.
Yeah, I like the idea Year of the Dragon because, if you listen to my music, Tsunamé is a dragon, So the show is pretty much going into life, death, and reawakening.
Okay.
Speaking on the new fruit blooming, holistic healing, and pretty much just getting the idea of the sluggish winter being gone. Even though we didn't have much of a winter this year, thank God. Usually up here, it's very hard to get rid of that winter depression. So the idea is to release the old, let the new fruit bear its seeds, and continue elevating, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And kicked off the winter with The Dark Knight in Paris.
Yes, we did. And that was actually our first show. And
really?
It was, so we did put it on there as Dark Knight in Paris. I just wanted to say we did call it Niggas in Paris, Negus, because Niggas is actually Ethiopian for king or royalty. And we were shining light on what was going on in Paris with the young 17-year-old boy being brutally murdered by the police and everything that was going on over there that we also saw over here. Paris fought for us too, So we were just pretty much giving our melanated people a chance to be seen without having to be held back by, somebody that used to oppress our ancestors. No offense to you guys. But, that's very hard to say sometimes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And so, Treble House is who you've been doing all these events with. You did the fashion show in December, and then these tattoo parties, because you're a tattoo artist as well?
So I am becoming a tattoo artist.
Okay.
So,
very humble.
Yeah, not licensed yet. I've been trying. I have really good friends that let me practice on them.
Nice.
And I have other good friends that invest in me and that believe in me, that will buy me tattoo equipment or give me something to smoke or, even throw me cash for, my practice work.
That's or at least say it's a good idea. Yeah,
and honestly, I'm really good at it. So I like to keep what I do as open as possible, because if you stick to just one thing, I feel like sometimes life gets really boring because you're like, oh, I can't do what I want to do right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, I can't make music right now. I'm going to go do a tattoo.
Would you say there's like a common theme throughout your like artistic endeavors? Is there like are you like the same brand no matter where you are or what you're doing?
Yes and no. What do you mean by same brand? Like Trouble House?
No, just
like are there you know what I mean?
Are you expressing yourself in different ways through the different arts, or
most
is
certainly.
It like cool?
So with tattooing, it's more of a pain releasing because tattooing is a curse. And I learned that early on. I just started picking up a tattoo needle a year ago. I was drawing for like 3 or 4 years before I even picked up the tattoo pen. And so the pain thing for me is like more like I have tattoos all up my arm. I have tattoos on my stomach, on my back, on my ribs. It's more like when you're the artist, you're taking away somebody else's pain. And you have to replace that with something positive. Otherwise, the art doesn't look as beautiful as it could or as it should. And if I even learned from tattooing a friend of mine, because he taught me this, he said, the first tattoo you did on my hand, it was beautiful. I didn't feel it at all. And I knew that you had good energy when you gave it to me. But the second one, no.
Interesting.
And he told me to stop tattooing him. He was like, you need to take a break. He was like, you need to decide if you really want to do this. And he was like, if you keep doing that, you're going to hurt every one of your clients. And your art is never going to be as beautiful as this one. And I was like, oh, snap. And to this day, I'll call him for advice. Like, hey, what do you think I should do with this? But it was a extreme learning lesson for me to be in such a high functioning environment, thinking I could work at a tattoo party in my first couple of months of tattooing. And then my blood pressure went up, my feet swelled up. Whoa. I was so stressed out. I was cussing everybody out. And he was like, you can't do that to yourself. He was like, you first. And then everybody else. Otherwise, you can't pass the good energy on. Because when you take that bad energy, are you going to keep it being bad energy, or are you going to recycle it?
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing the connection now between, well, it's like being on stage, you're like responsible for the entertainment in the room, and then tattooing, you're responsible for like something permanent.
Exactly.
So it's like, you're just like ratcheting up the pressure with your hobbies, it sounds like.
Yeah, and it's all permanent because, you can't go back in the past. However, it's about what you do and how you do it. Like, the saying, it's not about what you say, it's about how you say it. Like, you could say please, but if you say please in such an aggressive manner, nobody's going to give you what you want. But if you, are polite and patient and maybe even generous yourself, you might get what you want,
Heck yeah. Is there anything else we should talk about before we run out of time?
I do.
Right.
I do just want to give a shout out to Miss Wanda.
Yes.
She came through and gave me some treats before we did this show and something to smoke on. She is awesome. Make sure y'all check her out. Miss Wanda's Canaland. And then also check us out on Instagram, Trouble House. We have Infinite Elevations. Too Legit. We're tied in with Tidy Up, Creative Caponia, Creator Space, Jigs Art. We have so much going on. So that's why I'm so grateful that you guys came to me. And shout out to DogStar as well. Like, just thank you guys for everything. Thank you for having me, letting me speak and tell about myself.
I mean, you're an inspiration to us too. So
definitely.
Thank
what you and all y'all are doing over there.
That means a lot. Thank you.
Keep it up.
Exactly. Yeah. I totally lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry.
I mean, we only have about 3 minutes left. I said we dive into the track and the beat that you brought with.
So yeah, you brought a beat titled Sticky THC.
Yeah. Or Stale Newports, whichever you want to call it.
Yeah, how do you name a beat? Is it tough? Or is it
Usually I just go like based off of the first 2 words I see in my head. I'm like,
sick.
Okay. But when I made this beat, I made it a while back and I really, really liked it. And then I slowed it down and added some extra 808s to it. And I was like, that's not a stale Newport. That's some really sticky weed.
That's sticky.
Yeah.
And was this an Ableton Pro Tools Logic
Ableton.
creation? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I make all my beats in Ableton. I usually record in whatever I can get my hands on, but it's usually Pro Tools or Logic.
Sick. Because more recently you've been into the beat making, over the rapping, over the singing.
Yep. It's been about, I want to say 1.5 years, almost 2 years of beat making. And almost self-taught, but people taught me from like FL and stuff.
Okay.
So it wasn't really easy for me to teach myself on Ableton until I had a friend using Ableton. And then I was like, that's how you do it. That's how you split it. Command E. Got it. Thank you.
And we did talk briefly about cheap limousines.
Right.
And I mean, what else? Can you remember what was going on beyond what you have shared with us during the time of either the writing or the recording of it?
I was getting out of a long relationship. And it was a really difficult time for me in healing because I was over the relationship, but I also wasn't over how I had to break up with the guy. So I was kind of like getting down on myself, like, oh, you made a mistake. Oh my gosh, he thinks this was intentional. Like, so it was all bad. But in writing what I wrote, I feel like I was able to be like, okay, cool. Just release it. Like, even though the song has nothing to do with anybody. The song's not for anybody. It was just what I felt and what I imagined when I wrote it, So it was really good to just let that out.
No negative. You don't have any negative connotations with that song. Okay. Okay.
No, I don't think any of my songs really have any negative connotations. They're more just like, this is how I feel, and I'm gonna try as positively to write this. And if it doesn't come out positive, so be it.
Right.
But
it'll still be a vibe.
Yeah, you're still gonna bob your head to it.
Well, thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule to chat with us, chat with fans, and
for sure.
Share
Thank
a little
you
bit
guys.
more.
Bow wow.
Bow wow. Yeah, check out Treble House.
Yes.
Check out Amora, the Tsunamé. Check out DogStar.
Check out Red Sheep Productions.
There's they're doing the casting call would have just happened for the Year of the Dragon show that is
the 16th.
happening March 23rd.
Yes.
Yep.
For the birthday. So happy early birthday. And hope to see you at that show. Again, Amora the Tsunamé everywhere. DogStar Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram.
Yeah, thank you again.
Yeah, of course.
Keep
Thanks for having me.
We'll see
You guys
you
are
next
awesome.
week.
Bow
See
wow.
ya. Bow wow.
Bow wow.
Come on, let's go for a ride. Ride with me in my Jeep limousine. I got a lot to say, you got a lot to take. So come and ride with me in my Jeep limousine. Say yes, say yes. Baby, baby, tell me that I'm perfect. Show me, show me, show me that you're worth it. Love me or leave me, I've had you on my mind all day. Ride with me in my Jeep limousine. I got a lot to say, you got a lot to take. So come and ride with me in my Jeep limousine. Say yes, say yes. You told me that you're honest, and then you said you want this. I'm gonna get back to ya, I'm gonna get back to ya. I'm free falling, it's reckless. I hope this don't get hectic. So save me, will you please catch me? Baby, 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 love everything about you. No, I don't ever doubt you. How could I fly without you? Please give me just one chance, I promise that we will last. I wanna be back in your hands. Ride with me in my Jeep limousine. I got a lot to say, you got a lot to take. So come and ride with me in my Jeep limousine. Say yes, say yes. Ride with me in my Jeep limousine. I got a lot to say, you got a lot to take. So come and ride with me in my Jeep limousine. Say yes, say yes, say yes. So come and get in the booty. You ask what I'm doing, I'ma fun you like you come here. So come and ride with me in my Jeep limousine. Say yes, 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 yes. I'm trying to see how you work and put your body on mine. Igniting the flames in me, get down inside. So baby, rock the boat, get in the motion, baby, rock my world, make my body your focus. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Ride with me, say yeah, say yes, say yes, say yes. Ride with me in my Jeep limousine. I got a lot to say, you got a lot to take. So come and ride with me in my Jeep limousine. Say yes, say yes.